There are a couple of important math functions in JavaScript that you might use from time to time, and I'll show them to you. The first one is Math.round. So let's console.log the result, for example, of Math.round, and let's say we want to have 1.34. We're going to save this, we will run this code, and as you can see in the console, we're getting 1. So Math.round essentially just rounds this number. So for anything below 0.5, it will take the smaller number, and for everything greater or equal to 0.5, it will take the bigger number. If you always wanted to have the smaller number, you could use Math.floor instead of Math.round. And now we're going to run this code, and now you can see we still have 1. We can also say, let's say 1.4, and now we're going to run Math.ceil, and this will always use the bigger number, or round up to the bigger number. If you want to determine the minimum or maximum value, you can use math.min, for example. So for math.min, let's for example say we have 1, 2, and maybe 3, and we're going to run this code, and we're getting 1 because that is the minimum number. Now we can also use math.max. We're going to run the code again, and now we're getting 3 because this is the biggest number out of those numbers. Now you can also use math.pow, for example, to raise one number to the power of another. So let's, for example, say 2 to the power of 2, for example. Let's run this code, and this should be 4. But, for example, if we would say 2 to the power of 3, for example, then it would be 2 times 2 times 2. So essentially this will be 8. So this works exactly like, normal math. We could also say that we want to get the square root of a certain number. So let's, for example, say we want to get the square root of 16, which should be 4. So we're getting 4 right here. If we want to get the absolute value of a number, so we just want to get the value without a minus or whatever, then we can just say, okay, let's get the absolute value of minus 17, for example, and the absolute value will be 17, because the value of minus 17 is 17. If you just want to get the sign of a certain number, you can use math.sign, for example. Let's run this code, and right here you can see we're getting minus 1 in the console. Now let's do this, and we're getting 1. So essentially, if you have a negative number using math.sign, you get minus 1. If you have a positive number, you get 1. And let's also test what is going to happen once we use 0. And as you can see, if we use 0, we get 0. Then we also have math.pi to return pi to the user, so you don't have to memorize it or type it out. You can just use math.pi like this, run the code, and now we are getting this number. And we can also say we want to get Euler's number, so we can use math.e, for example, run this code again, and now we're getting this number as well. So you don't have to remember pi or Euler's number, and you can just use math.pi or math.e to print out that number, for example, or use it for your calculations if you wanted to.